Hi, and welcome to Module 9, Day 4. My name is Miss Spencer, and today we're going to be learning lots of new things. The quote for this module is, "The true mystery of the world is the visible, not the invisible," by Oscar Wilde. Let's get ready to learn. Here's the agenda for today's lesson. Goals and overview, vocabulary, reading Mr. Linden's library, and sharing out our new learning. The essential question for this module is, what makes something mysterious, and what makes people want to solve mysteries? Today's learning mindset is problem solving. I try different ways to solve problems. The goals for this lesson are to share information and ideas about a topic under discussion, to ask relevant questions to clarify information, to recognize characteristics of mystery stories, and to answer questions using multi-word responses. The vocabulary goals are to determine the meaning of grade-level academic vocabulary derived from Latin, Greek, or other linguistic roots and affixes, to use a dictionary or glossary to determine the meanings of unknown words, and to discuss words with the Latin roots fac, fec, and fi to show understanding of these word parts. Here's some instructional vocabulary you need for today's vocabulary lesson. Root, a basic word part usually from Greek or Latin that carries meaning. And prefix, a word part that is added to the beginning of a base word that changes the meaning of the word. Here are some examples. Fac, meaning to do or make. Fec, meaning to do or make. And fi, meaning to make. You can pause the video in order to look at some of the examples. Let's do some guided practice together. Identify the familiar word part and predict what each word means. The first word is artifact. Can you find the familiar word part? Did you say fact? That is correct. An artifact is an object made by a human being, typically an item of cultural or historical interest. What about the next word, infect? Can you find the familiar word part? Did you say feck? That's correct. Infect means to affect a person, organism, or cell with a disease-causing organism. And the last word, personify. Can you find the familiar word part? Did you say fi? That's correct. Personify means to represent a quality or concept by a figure in human form. Nice job. Now it's time for independent work. With your partner or independently, complete this page in your Know It, Show It workbook. Pause the video in order to complete this independent work. Now it's time to share out. Share out with a new partner or with a family member at home. Pause this video in order to complete this task. Time for a brain break. Get a drink of water or stretch your legs after you pause this video. Here are the reading goals for today's lesson. To analyze plot elements including rising action, climax, falling action, and resolution. And to use graphic organizers to understand plot elements. Here are some key vocabulary words you need to know before we continue the lesson. Plot, the conflict, events, and resolution that make up a story structure. Rising action, the series of important events in a story that create interest. Climax, the part of a story where the action reaches its highest point. Falling action, the events in the story that follow the climax and lead to the resolution. And resolution, how the conflict in a story is solved. Pause the video to take a closer look at our literary elements poster. Let's take another look at Mr. Linden's library. Together, we will answer these 3 questions. What does Carol notice about Mr. Linden's book? 2. What problem does Carol want to solve? And 3. How does she try to solve the problem? You can pause the video here in order to try to answer these 3 questions. Or you can follow along with me as I answer these 3 questions out loud. Question number 1. What does Carol notice about Mr. Linden's book? Pause the video if you think you know the answer and jot it down. According to the text, Carol notices that the same page is bookmarked, but the text on the page has changed. Question number 2. What problem does Carol want to solve? Pause the video if you think you know the answer, jot it down. I noticed that Carol could not understand how the book could have changed and wants to figure out a reason. In question number 3, how does Carol try to solve the problem? Pause the video and jot down your answer if you think you know. According to the text, she studies the book very carefully and tries to stay calm. Did you find those answers in the text? If so, great job. Now it's time for some independent work. Number 1, write your own ending to Mr. Linden's library that provides a more finished resolution to the story. Pause the video in order to complete this task. After you have completed this task, it is now time to share out our work. With a partner or with a family member, discuss what you have learned about story structure and the importance of resolution. Pause the video in order to complete this task. Let's wrap up our learning. Let's reflect on our learning by sharing how we used our understanding of literary elements during our independent work time. Pause the video in order to jot some ideas down. Thank you for learning with me today. If you like learning with me, here are some other videos where we can learn together. Have a great day.